In this podcast, I'm going to talk about the Houston Rockets' dominant win over the LA Lakers, Jalen Greens' offensive explosion, and that defense. My God, that defense. Tap in, enjoy.
You deserve from me. This is something I know.
All right, for this film session, we're going to have to take it back to the past, right? This is from 2022, game against the Lakers in Houston, where Jalen Green dropped 32 points on the Lakers. And the reason that we're going over this video and looking at these plays is I want you guys to look at how hard Jalen Green has to work for his buckets. Everything was hard and off the dribble. Everything was tough, and we loved him for that because that's really shows you his upside. Like I said, when you're in a playoff setting, guys got to be able to hit these types of shots. But for an 82-game season with, back-to-backs and all these things, trying to take shots like this are going to make you inefficient. They're going to make the game hard for you. And this was what JG struggled on because depending on what the defense was doing for him, and if he was feeling it and not feeling it, if he was having a good game, if he felt like he was in his groove, then these shots would go in. But more often than not, these were bad shots. Just like Paul George said to Dame, that was a bad shot, but he made them. But this is what he had to deal with. Now let's contrast this to what we saw tonight versus the Lakers. DHO with Şengün here. Reeves goes under. Wood in a drop. I mean, this is... These shots, because most of the bigs we played this year played the drop. And look where Christian Wood is. This is Stephen Silas type stuff. Why is Christian Wood an athletic big that far when Alperen Şengün could play at the level of the screen or right kind of where Austin Reeves is when he's on defense? But Christian Wood, a guy that's supposed to be able to guard the perimeter, that's guarding KD, plays that deep. Every time Jalen Green sees a center in this position with a defender that's guarding him going under, that should be an automatic pull-up. That should Dame, Steph, that's automatic, and they're gonna just destroy this. But these are shots that are always there for him. You know what I mean? That's an easy shot. Make or miss, that's an easy shot. I think there's a zone look from the Lakers here. Once again, just a simple pass from Fred VanVleet in the zone. He's open, easy shot. No 10 dribbles. He doesn't have to tween. Has he snaked the screen? Easy shots. Defense into offense. Play hard on the defensive end leads to an easy dunk. You love it. You love it. Once again, defense to offense. These are easy buckets. Layup in transition. You love it. You love it. How many times have you seen Jalen dribble? So let's pause right here. This dude has already scored, 2 3-pointers and a floater off of 4 dribbles, 5 dribbles at the most? Look at this. Pull up 3. Easy. I said on Twitter, these are the easiest shots Jalen Green has ever had. Off a screen, a guy, hand down, man down, easy. At this point, he's just feeling it. Here's a play I love, and this is, shout out to Tari for this. Jeff at the top of the key. He sends Jalen on the cut. Usually when a player in the slot cuts, the guy in the corner is going to fill the void, and he could cut across here, but he cuts, pretends he's about to set a screen on D'Lo there, and Tari's to pull up, forces D'Lo to commit to the closeout and just resets back in the corner. He would, look how easy this shot is. Look how easy this shot is. Buckets. These are practice shots. At this point, it's just whether he's going to make his open shots or not. Once again, you get a screen from Tari Eason who cuts D'Lo one-on-one. You take that any day, and he's just in his bag with the Jordan scoop. Once again, guard-on-guard screen. Attacking D'Lo in isolation now. This is what the defense is giving you. There's no big man in the paint. Now you can do this. You've killed them. They're trying to make adjustments. Now you can attack the weak defender and just keep attacking them. Look at D'Lo, hands on head. Yeah. The game is easy, man. The game is easy. So to stay on the topic of Jalen Green, I mean, once again, this is, to me, what I envision his role like in the NBA. Like from my previous videos, I've really questioned the play style that the Rockets were using for him in previous years. He ran too many isolations and too many pick and rolls. Jalen does not have a bag like that. He can get downhill. He can bend the corner on a lot of players, but his game just isn't meant to be one that he's just going to dribble, because the more he dribbles, his efficiency goes down. And if you even remember his first games, like when he first came to the league, the best games he had were games where he was coming off of screens and hitting those shots, especially against bigs in the drop. And I think Coach Udoka has really kind of gotten him to buy into playing a different style of offense that he's not used to. And I think a lot of the stuff you're going to see early on, and as even we go on, I still think that he could do more in this offense, because I feel like he could cut more, he could move around more. I want to get him running. Take a page out of Steph Curry's book and use your scoring gravity as a shooter and as an athletic beast to just, skew the defense. And he hasn't gotten there yet, but taking the simple play is a huge first step for him. Once again, y'all are going to get tired of this analogy. The kid that's trying to learn how to ride the bike. Jalen, Şengün, these guys have been in the league. This is their third year. Even though all of this stuff is new to them as far as the system and the structure, and they're going to need time to gel, at the end of the day, they're still vets. They're still veterans in the NBA, especially after this season where they're going to be eligible for veteran contracts. So I'm saying that to say that even though they're being exposed to new concepts and new structure, they've been in the league. They understand a lot of the terminology and things like that. So they're going to learn things really fast. Like I said, the 10-year-old learning how to ride a bike than a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is a rookie who just came into the NBA, has never played in the NBA team defense, never played in a system that requires them to do stuff off ball. They're used to being the guy. Fresh in the NBA, they're going to struggle that first year. For a guy that's been in the league, that's played against great players, it's even though all of this is new, they're going to adapt fairly quickly. And I think for Şengün, for Jalen, for Jabari, for Tari, it's going to be a very rapid development for them to reach where they need to go. I've set my marker for this team peaking out at the January marker. Like, that's where it's going to be. Right now, they're still figuring stuff out. And once again, this is the worst they're going to look. This is the worst they're going to look. But for Jalen to be able to score in an efficient manner, in a way that's sustainable. And I think that's the key thing to everything about what the Rockets are doing is sustainment. And, I think Ryan Hollins or one of them, Craig, had pointed this out during the broadcast about, in past, I've said this before too, in the past when they won, it would have been some hot shooting night or somebody exploding for 40 or 50 points and we'd win by like 1 point. You know what I mean? And that's how the games have been in the past, because those are just random events that happen on the basketball court. One player gets hot, it's an anomaly, right? But what you're seeing the Rockets stack together, actually defensive performances, you're stopping teams and just scoring off of defense, off of transition, off of good rebounding and just good team concept. And I think Jalen is a recipient of that. You look at his scores, 28 points, 7 rebounds. 7 rebounds is huge for Jalen. He was willfully and intentionally being on the glass. Not only does that help the team, it also helps him get out and run in transition. You think about how the Oklahoma City Thunder used Russ in back in the day, and I've compared Jalen Greens, and not in a 1-for-1, but he does have a bit of that Westbrook-esque game to him, where the athleticism is there. He just doesn't have the size right now, but the explosiveness. But one thing that OKC would do when people used to say, "Oh, Russ is cherry picking rebounds and taking rebounds away from Steven Adams," casuals. If you ever thought the reason Russell Westbrook was getting the rebound instead of Steven Adams was to pad his stats, you're a casual. You just don't know basketball. That was intentional. You know why? The coach told him to do that. Because you want the ball in his hands, because once he gets the ball, he's a Tasmanian devil getting downhill on the open court against mismatches, because a lot of teams aren't like the Houston Rockets. They play bad transition defense. And if you run in transition on the offensive end and your best athlete has the ball in their hand, there's a good chance you might get matched up with a guy that can't guard you, that forces a foul, that gets to and allows you to get to the layup and get a dunk, get the team going. So the rebounding can also feed his offense, and 3 or 4 of his buckets were in transition. I love how they're using him off screens. I just love everything they're doing with him right now. But you look at 3 assists, could do more there. Only 15 attempts with the 28 points. You love that shot to scoring ratio. 4 free throw attempts. He really didn't have to drive downhill too much because they didn't really have much in the paint for the Lakers. Really bad defense on their end. And, efficiency, 73% from the field, 83% from 3. Obviously, those aren't going to be expected every single night. But if it's a make or miss league and the teams are going to concede open shots like that to you, bro, you're going to make a lot of them. At that point, it's just either you're going to make them or you don't. The crazy thing is a lot of these shots have been there for Jalen all year, but he's used to having to dribble first, attack, pull it out, pause, then go back in, dribble in, and try to get a tough bucket. Coach Udoka is breaking him out of that. The game is simple. Basketball is a simple game. There's concepts in it. There's advantages that come with just running natural plays, and he's taking advantage of it, and I love it. I don't expect every single game for Jalen to be this efficient. I don't expect him to need to score this much every game, and I don't expect defense to be as bad as the Lakers were tonight. So I think for him, the progression is not going to be the scoring. Never equate how Jalen's performance is by his shooting percentages or how many points he scores at this point in his career. That's going to come down the line where he's a constant 30-point, 20-some point per game scorer. What you equate Jalen's performances with are the little things in the game. His effort on defense. Is he fighting over screens? Is he attacking the glass on rebound on the defensive and the offensive end? Is he passing the ball and making the easy pocket passes when he's supposed to? And is he taking what the defense gives him? Start watching for the nuances of the game that coaches watch for, and don't look at the game just from a box score perspective where a lot of fans do. But that's how you got to judge young guys. If I ever get on and criticize one of our players, it's never going to be for shooting. Like, oh, you shot X and X. And a lot of people do that. That's not how I look at the game. I look at things that are scalable. If you're fighting off screens and trying to get and stay at the hip of a defender, at the end of the day, you can do that in any game, and that's going to help you win. If you're taking shots off a screen where a big man is in a drop, at the end of the day, that's just whether you can hit those shots or not. It's not some crazy contested jumper or anything like that. So shout out to Jalen Green. Love how he's responded over the past few games after starting his season off, being kind of passive. This is what we want. The team needs him to play like this. I don't need him to shoot like this. It'd be nice if he shot 80% from three every night, but this is not what we need. We just need him to be able to be a playmaker and a facilitator and an aggressive shot taker when the shots are there. Another thing I'm noticing, Coach Udoka is doing a two-man deal with him and Jabari with the bench units, and this started after the game where Fred took 22 shots. So they can see that he needs that time off. Jalen hasn't gotten to the point where he feels like he can just be the alpha over Fred, and that's rightfully so. Fred is a vet, and if the shots aren't going to be taken by other people, he's going to take them. But 2 games in a row, Fred has taken less than 10 shots. And Jalen on the second unit is really aggressive, and I like that. I want to see that aggression come in on the first unit. You also notice that they always start off the game trying to get him going. So they're intentional about developing this. So it was crazy to me how people were trying to blame Coach Udoka for like 3 games into the season about, oh, they don't know how to use Jalen. So y'all chill out, but great game by Jalen. Jabari had a quietly efficient game, and he's been stacking quietly efficient games over the past few games. 50% from the field, 50% from 3. You'll take that from Jabari Smith Jr., a plus 19. I don't think he had a stretch last year where he was a plus on the box minus for at least two games in a row. But it's been three or 4 games now that Jabari's been a plus. This is a game changer. Like I told you guys, last year he was the tank commander. This is a game changer. If Jabari Smith can be a positive, and not just a positive, but actually a positive on the court, the Rockets are going to win a lot more games than people anticipate. And Coach Udoka said in the post-game conference that guys are really catching on faster than a lot of people anticipated, including myself. And if he's being candid, I'm sure he did not see that a lot of these things, they would acclimate to it this fast. But, you know, I think the guys are just, they're humble. The kids are ready to learn. They're tired of losing, and they're committed to what he's doing. And when you have all these types of players that, you know, Dillon is a guy that had to work for what he got. Fred as a guy that had to work for what he got. Jabari, a guy that was humbled last year, coming in and having a rough go as a rookie. Jalen, who's been doubted at points in his career by whether it's the national media, fans of other teams, and fans within the Rockets about his upside and things like that. You have no choice but to be humble. You think of Alperen Sengun, a guy who's been written off a million times by fans within his team. I think the national media and external fans love him more than most Rockets fans do. You have no choice but to be humble. And I think for Jabari, slotting into that role, learning and listening to his vets around him has really helped this game. And, you know, the only thing for him that he needs to do right now is just keep working and get stronger. I think for him to get to the spot where we saw what he did in the Summer League is a matter of strength. Obviously, Summer League has lesser competition, smaller guys, weaker guys. When you get to the NBA, you can't do your post-ups against these grown men. You're not going to post up LeBron. You know, he's bigger than you, stronger than you. So what you saw in Summer League is a future look at what Jabari could be once his physical profile catches up with his abilities. And that's going to take time. It might take a couple of years to do that on NBA courts against Jimmy Butler, against LeBron James, against Jason Tatum, these high-level wings that he's going to have to score against. But it's going to take time, and I think he can do it. Keep stacking games. That's the thing for him. He just got to stack positive games. Once again, the points don't really matter. I love, the fact that he's actually boxing out, something I noticed. He's making an intention on that. Coachability. And it's a great marriage between Coach Udoka and the guys that we have, because guys want to be coached. He's a good coach that wants to coach them hard, and it's going to lead to success. Fred VanVleet had a not great on the efficiency side, but you look at the impact, plus 28 on the court. Fred, the team leader in plus minus. Again, I think he's been that for maybe 2 or 3 games in a row now. The efficiency, 22% from the field. I think he forced a lot of bad shots. The threes just didn't drop. Make or miss league on that. 9 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists. You live with that. Fred is a constant professional, and he gets our guys in the right spots. He gets them ready to go. He gets the team set. He can feel now when guys need to get, touch the ball, who needs to be where. He tells them where to line. Like, it's so many little nuanced things that he does. Just a simple pass ahead on transition, or when he sees a guy's open, they're running zone. How many teams ran the zone against us to turn off the water on the Rockets, and that worked? And this year they're obliterating the zone. So, I'm not gonna, harp on Fred's inefficiency at this moment, but I will say, when we play tougher competition, Denver, Clippers, teams that actually have, multiple all-NBA level players, he's going to need to step up in that aspect. I do expect him to do so. I do expect him, because I think Fred plays up to the occasion. So, but great game from him as well. Only 9 shots, not shot chucking. He takes his shot, make or miss, but he's organizing the team. I love what he's doing. Alperen Sengun had a pretty easy game, and I hope he's not hurt. Collectively, I can say that every single Rockets fan, all of us damn near passed out when that dude went down, bro. I was like, oh my God, we're about to have to watch Jock Landale play 38 minutes versus Nikola Jokic. It would have been sad times, bro. I literally would have been depressed. But luckily, he played the rest of the game. I know there was some tape of him limping to the locker room. If he needs to miss a game or two, then, get healthy. You hope he just gets healthy. That's the main thing for him. Hopefully it's nothing like Tari Eason's injury where it turns into a bruised situation where he's out for 2 to 3 weeks, because I think that without Alperen Sengun, we're in the world of trouble as a team. He is really the engine for everything that we do right now. But plus 19 for him, 19 smooth points versus the old Christian Wood, our old center. How crazy was it to see Christian Wood on the opposing team playing probably some of the worst defense, even for his standards, in Toyota Center against a young fella that he was starting over his time here in Houston. Just goes to show, man, like the contrast in styles and approach, the contrast in the team aspect of the game, and just the effort. I mean, I know Wood wants to try, but not a great defensive performance for him. Alp shot 80% from the field. Then Wood had 0 points, just no impact on the game. It was a done deal. Once AD was out, there was no matchup. And if he really wanted to be greedy, he could have had way more points than he did. Like, he damn near scored every time he went down. 7 rebounds, 4 assists, only 10 field goal attempts. Like I said, 80% plus 19. Sengun is putting up 19, 8, and 5 damn near every night. Bill Simmons called him basically an all-star, saying he's playing like an all-star in his podcast. And y'all know Bill Simmons is going to take a dump. He's going to dump out a rock before he gives the Rockets a compliment. So, but Alp is the guy, man. He really does make our team go, and defensively he's doing a lot. But, great game from him. Hope he's healthy. And last but not least, I want to I want to focus on Dillon Brooks right now. You're going to look at his stats: 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, only 6 shots, pedestrian, 33% from the field, 33 from 3. Probably more realistic of what his shooting splits are going to look like when everything settles out. Like I said, probably in the mid 30s from 3, maybe in the mid 40s from 2. But this guy is one of the best offenders in the NBA, and I'm going to start my case to say that he needs to be in the early. I know this might be super premature, in the early talks for defensive, not defensive player of the year. That may get there, but all defensive first team. as a wing. Like, he is one of the best defenders in the NBA. And it's crazy. You can watch the games and see it. You can watch film and see it. But in the game, once again, impactful, plus 18, even though he didn't really score much. I want to go through some of his defensive ratings and stats with you guys. So let's check them out. So first, we're going to look at Dillon Brooks' defensive play type stats. So these are the types of plays that he would see. The most that he sees are spot ups and pick and rolls, right? So spot up is a person that's spotting up for a shot, usually threes. On spot ups, when Dillon Brooks is either closing out on you or is guarding spot ups, guys are shooting 36%. 36% on spot ups. On pick and roll ball handler, where he's having to fight over the big to get around the screen. And these are usually twos, layups, and things like that. These are the hardest things to guard in the NBA with the athletes that the NBA has right now. Pick and roll ball handler is not an easy job to do, to be able to navigate a pick and roll, fight over the screen, get at the hip of the offensive player, contest their shots, or stop them from going to the basket. Guys are shooting 38% on pick and roll with him guarding them. That is crazy. On dribble handoffs, where the players are coming off of screens with their big man, where he can go under or go over, guys are shooting 15.4%. 15%. Off screens, this is when guys are getting picked at the top of the key or different angles where he has to fight to get over. 18%. In an isolation, where it's just him, mano y mano, one-on-one, game on the line, possession on the line, guys are shooting 16% on only 6 possessions. That is doggish. These numbers are absurd. Like, if you understand how good these numbers are for a guy that is playing on a team that switches. Now, I was expecting this. If you look at, like I said, how you played in Memphis, he was a primary assignment guy a lot, which means that if LeBron's in town, Dillon, you got LeBron. He goes get popcorn, you go get popcorn. If LeBron goes take a piss, you got to go with him to the bathroom. And he was doing that for most of the game. But the way our defense works, sometimes you have to concede switches, which puts him at quote unquote disadvantages. And he locks the disadvantages up. Like, the only place that he's weak right now is getting posted up and getting cutted on by other teams, where they'll cut on him backdoor because he's so aggressive on phase guarding and really being close to his man. Otherwise, he's shutting everything down. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons the Rockets are having success on defense. And you look at his overall just basic stats. This is all the possessions that he's played defense against. 108 possessions. The opponent field goal percentage, 32%. That's overall. Overall, everybody that Dillon Brooks has guarded this year has shot 32% overall from the field. Opponent EFG, which is a combination of threes and twos, opponents are shooting 37.5%, which is way below league average. Opponent true shooting also adds in free throws. So it includes guys that are getting fouled and getting to the free throw line on him. Only 40.9%. The difference between his EFG and his true shooting being that close means he doesn't foul. Means fouls aren't a huge impact on him. Even though he had a couple of fouls tonight, usually when he guards, he doesn't foul. On twos, which are everything inside the three-point line, including layups, 40% is absurd. And guys are shooting 22% against Dillon Brooks on threes. I mean, if the Rockets can sustain being a top 10 defense in the NBA, then he should be in talks for Defensive Player of the Year. That's how good he's balling. Teams know that. Everybody knows that. This is what he does. Like, the contract at this point, it seems negligible. The only question I ever had about Dillon Brooks' fit on this team was his decision-making and his ability to buy into playing as just a role player on a team with players that are better offensive players than him. So far, he's met up to that expectation. He takes what the defense gives him. He's not forcing anything. Now, it's yet to be seen whether this is sustainable over the entire season and whether he can do it in key moments when we make the play-in. Is he going to be able to contain himself to just focus on his assignment and playing his defense and hitting the shots when they're there? That's yet to be seen. But at the rate he's going now, seems like he's fully bought in. And Coach Udoka seems to have a pulse on his team, and they're doing a great job just implementing what he wants them to. Final takeaway from the Rockets game is that defense is their calling card, and that's the type of calling card that you want. That's the one that's going to be there when it counts. I made the bold prediction that they're going to make the play-in, and I still believe so, because their victory against the Kings on back-to-back games let me know that they have structure and what they're doing is real and sustainable. And It was validated again against the Lakers. Now, people may try to say the only reason we beat the Lakers, just like with the Kings, they didn't have Anthony Davis, they didn't have Fox. All that is cap. Every team is missing somebody. Nobody's fully healthy. And I put out a tweet right before the game anticipating this. The Lakers, this is what the tweet said. The Lakers are a plus 20 with AD off the court in 165 possessions. So they were beating teams by 20 points with AD and minus 7.7 with him on the court. So with AD, they're actually a worse team. They've been losing with AD on the court. It might not be AD's fault. Maybe they don't have enough spacing. Whatever it is, they were losing with him on the court, and they've actually been beating teams with him off the court. With Christian Wood on the court, with no AD, which is 127 possession, which is significant, they're a plus 29. So there was no excuse in this game. You have LeBron James. You have your full roster there. Rui came back, and you still took the L. So, that's just showing you the Rocket stuff is real. This is real deal. Now, we have a lot of big games coming up. And it's going to be tough for the Rockets over this stretch because nothing they're going to get is easy. We got Denver coming up, Clippers coming up, Lakers again coming up, Pelicans coming up. We got the Warriors coming up. The crazy thing is that if you had asked me a few games ago about how many games into this stretch that we're in right now, I would have thought we would have won. I probably would have said one. I would have said we would have split one with Sacramento and would have been 1-3 from the Sacramento game, or 1-2 into this game, 1-2. But to go 3-0 into this tough stretch that we have right now is truly amazing and a testament to the team and to the coaching staff. I think they're going to keep getting tested as the time goes on. And then, the schedule, if they can make it through this rough patch, hovering around 500, then the play-in or playoffs are going to be a lock. The play-in or playoffs are going to be a lock because, once again, this is the worst they're going to be. It feels so good to talk about real basketball with positives. Once again, win or lose, I'm not going to go over the top like some people acting like the Rockets just won the championship. But what you are excited about is the way that we're winning is real and is sustainable and is scalable on a real basis. That when you fill your bench out, when you add some, better players, when guys develop internally, when guys start understanding the schemes, where they get more comfortable with each other, you can keep escalating the amount of wins that you can produce based on the effort from the team. The coaching staff, you're not worried about because your coaching staff is elite. If they've made it through 3-4 rounds in the playoffs, going against Budenholzer, going against Spoelstra, having a battle against Kerr, having a battle against elite coaches and being able to outwit them. So you're not worried about the Darvin Hams of the world, the Monty Williamses of the world. You're not worried about these guys because you've been at the best against the best with your coaching staff. You have an advantage at that level. You know that your young guys are top level, top 10, top 15 picks, some of them top 5 picks. They have a lot of talent and they're still figuring out the NBA game. So there's a lot of room for them to grow. So you're not worried about that. You have everything you need right now. All they have to get right now is just time, more patience. This is the worst they're going to be. Y'all let me know, what was your favorite part about the Lakers game? Mine was Christian Wood going over and Alperen Sengun dog walking him. What was your favorite part? Was it Jalen scoring? Was it the defense by DB on LeBron? Y'all seen the video of him standing in front of him, trying to be like him? Was it Tate? There were so many good things. Tari came back. Shout out to him for having a good game. But y'all let me know in the chat and in the comments. Keep rocking with it. Whoa. I always forget this. If you've watched this video or listened to this podcast up to this point and you haven't hit the like button, please do so to support the channel. If you're new to the channel, this is your first time seeing me talk about basketball. If you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop and we gonna keep dropping that.